maybe it was billed as the game of the week going in.
Yeah.
It didn't live up to the game of the week.
Not quite.
And Paul,
pretty one-sided.
I have my guesses for why it didn't live up to the game of the week, but I want to hear what you have to say for why the Green Bay Packers and Dallas Cowboys game was not what it was billed to be all week leading up to it.
Yeah, well, I think Green Bay really figured out their offense. At the end of the day, they played quite a complete offensive game, and their defense showed that they also know how to play football. They keep showing. They showed again that this isn't just Aaron Rodgers' team. This is actually a complete football team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas, I'd be a little worried because they look like when they don't have their run game, their game is taken away. And that's a big knock on Dak Prescott in this offseason, and he should have taken his deal and ran with it after
the Miami game.
Dolphins game. Yeah. And it's tough at this point. So I didn't expect the loss to be this big for the Cowboys. I expected a Packers win, to be honest, but I didn't expect it to be by 10 points. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers looked special. So
yeah, I mean, for me, the reason I think this game wasn't as close as it was supposed to be is pretty simple. The Packers showed that they're in the top tier of the NFC, and the Cowboys have shown in the last 2 weeks that they're not.
Yeah.
And that's just become abundantly clear. The Packers are one of the 3 best teams at worst in the NFC right now, and the Cowboys aren't in that tier. And whatever we want to say about how good the NFC is, there's a gap. And when, especially with the way Dallas wants to play, they want to control the clock. They want to play on their terms. And when they aren't allowed to do that, we see them struggle regularly. It's just the inevitability of the quarterback they have. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can win a lot of games with Dak. You can win playoff games with Dak. There's no reason to suggest otherwise. The problem is, though, is their defense can't come out and get just absolutely bullied and give up 4 rushing touchdowns. That's the reason they lost this game. Like,
yeah, 100%.
we can try and come up with like long form excuses or reasons for why the Packers won or why the Cowboys. No, the reason they won, the reason this game came out the way it did is because the Cowboys defense got pushed around for 3 hours. Plain and simple. They got punked. Like, Aaron Jones had 4 rushing touchdowns in this game. I don't know how many times I can keep repeating that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Without it, until it hammers home. I mean, the guy was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The end of the game rushing stats don't really do it justice because Dallas ended up finishing with more rushing yards. But at the end of the day, this game was 17-0 at half, and it felt like it was 28-0. Like, it felt over at halftime. And
yeah, it did.
I mean, maybe the most impressive part about that is their leading receiver was also Aaron Jones, too, believe it or not. They did this without Devontae.
Yeah.
Which is exciting if you're a Packers fan. If you're a Cowboys fan, I mean, Paul, quickly, the Cowboys have played 3 good teams. And they've played 3 awful teams and 2 good teams, and the record is 3-2. Yeah. So what is my takeaway on the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, I'd be scared if I was one of their fans right now, but I mean, you can't count them out. I did last year. They came back, made it to the playoffs, had a win in the playoffs, looked pretty good. So with that roster, can't be worried, but Clappy might be out as their head coach soon, so you never know. It's an interesting time to be a Dallas fan.
I think we're going to learn a lot about Dallas, not next week because they almost got that New England schedule going right now where they have the Jets this week, but we're going to learn a lot about the Cowboys when Philly comes to town for Sunday Night Football in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Because we've seen the Eagles get a big boy win. We know what the Eagles are all about when they're fully healthy. And by that time, I would expect them to be very close to, if not being fully healthy.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
So when the Eagles come to town in 2 weeks, I think we're going to learn a lot about where Dallas is going in the season, and if they're going to be a 10-6 wildcard team, or if they're going to be the 11-5, 12-4 team that maybe they looked like they were going to be a couple weeks ago. But let's move on to